Your faith is all it takes. And you can walk on the water too. It was just after Jesus had fed the 5,000 men, women, and children with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. In some versions of the Bible, fishes. It was just after that he sent his disciples in a boat to cross the Sea of Galilee to the other side, while he went off to pray by himself. When evening came, he was alone by himself on the beach. And he looked out and he saw his disciples' boat, far from shore, but making no progress at all. They were just sitting still because they were up against the wind. The next morning, the Bible doesn't say why he waited till morning. We can discern this on our own. But the next morning, that's not where I'm going with this talk. The next morning, he, I assume, wakes up, and the disciples are still out, sitting in the boat, and he walks across the water to them. It took, well, let me share this. Metaphysically speaking, in this story, the waters represent our mental potentiality. And because it's the sea, because it's the ocean, it's not our individual mental potentiality. It's that potentiality that we share. It's that sea of consciousness that you and I create together. That ocean of beliefs that we create together. Sometimes in error. I'm just saying. And it takes great faith in yourself to walk across those frequently choppy seas safely. Just think if the story had gone like this. I need my shoes off for this. So Jesus is sitting there on the beach in the morning, and he's looking out, right? And he sees the disciples in the boat, and he's thinking this. You know, I just really don't think I'm that good at this preaching thing. And the next time I see those money changers, I might really lose my temper. And what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if God is not a God of love? Man, oh man, am I in hot water. And God aside, just for a moment, what if I can't forgive them when they mock me and whip me and crucify me? What if I can't? How far out on those waters do you think he would have gotten thinking like that? Diminishing himself like that. I don't think he would have made the first step before his foot was underwater. The song says, your insecurities try to hold on to you. These insecurities, fears, and doubts that we have about who we are can drag us under our collective sea of consciousness very quickly. It's happened to me more than once. It's easy to say, with faith, you can overcome all these fears and doubts. Simply have faith in God. All right? You good? Great. Let's go to breakfast. Brunch. It doesn't feel like it's enough, does it? Certainly I haven't spoken long enough to earn my keep. In unity, we have faith in God. But we take it a step further. And we say very practically, how do we do it? How do we do it? How do we live it? How do we feel it? How do we demonstrate it? Within ourselves and with one another. And one of the best places I know to start, in fact, the only place that I know to begin, is right here. It's with self-compassion. It's with self-love. I believe it begins here. Not reserving compassion solely for others, but having it for yourself as well. Have you ever been to a game? Baseball game, football game, basketball game? Anyone? Yeah, okay. And while you were there, were you ever afraid that your team was going to lose?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, we live in Cleveland. I'm not diminishing Cleveland. I love Cleveland. Have you ever been in a game, and afraid that your team was going to lose? Yeah. And when you're playing a game, isn't it all right to win? Isn't it about winning when you're playing a game? There's a true story that I've shared once before, and knowing many of your reading habits, you may have read it as well as possibly heard me share it once. It's a story I love, and it came to me as being appropriate for today. It's a story about a learning disabled boy named Shea. It's a true story. Shea lived in New York City. He may still be living there. I don't know that. But he was learning disabled and physically challenged. And he and his father were out walking one Saturday morning next to a park. And Shea looked over and he saw a group of boys playing baseball, boys that he knew. And he looked up at his dad and he said, "Dad, do you think they'll let me play?" And his father, knowing that his son had absolutely no athletic ability at all, knowing that he knew what it would mean if his son could play baseball. See, he'd never played in any team sport, ever. And so he approached one of the teams. And he said, my son is interested in playing, can he? And he didn't get any response. But after a moment, one boy walked up to him, and he said, "We're in the 8th inning, and we are down by 6 runs. So, yeah, he can be on our team. We'll put him out in center field, and we'll try to let him bat in the 9th inning." Well, in the bottom of the 8th, that team scored another 3 runs. And they go into the 9th. The other team doesn't score anymore. The top of the 9th. Bottom of the 9th, the team scores another run. So now they're down by 2. The bases are loaded. There are 2 outs. Guess who's up to bat? Shea is scheduled to bat. His father's looking at this going, thinking they're never going to let him bat. And the boy who first spoke to walks over to Shea and hands him the bat. So Shea comes to the plate. And the pitcher on the other team, he understands what's going on, and so he moves in about half the distance. And he gently lobs the ball toward Shea. Shea swings and misses. Wow. At that point, another of his teammates comes out, stands behind him. They hold the bat together. The pitcher moves in closer and throws in another easy pitch. And together they swing, and Shea connects with the ball. And he hits it directly back to the pitcher, who promptly reaches down, picks it up, and throws it as high and as hard as he can over the first baseman's head, over the right fielder's head. And Shea's team is yelling, "Run, Shea, run to first." Shea had never run to first before, and he's running to first. And he gets to first, and now the center fielder has the ball, and understanding what's going on, he takes the ball, and he throws it as far and as high as he can over the third baseman's head. And now they're yelling, "Shea." Both teams are running, "Shea, run to second." And he runs to second. And when he gets there, the shortstop comes up to him and turns him, because he's facing the outfield. And he turns him facing toward home plate, the third plate. And he says, "Run to third. Shea, go, run." And he's running to third. And as his teammates round the bases coming home, and he comes around third base, everyone there is yelling, "Shea, run home, run home." And as he crosses the plate, all 18 boys come together, they hoist him up on their shoulders, and they make him the hero. He has just hit a grand slam. Now, this story is often shared as an amazing example of compassion for another. But I believe, that if you look just a little closer, if you look a little deeper, you will see another type of compassion as well. I believe you'll find the boys in those teams with compassion for themselves, with love for themselves. You see, it wasn't about winning. It wasn't primarily about winning. They were being led by an inner value. That inner value, another form of love, is the value of being a team, the value of being a community. They were led by love of self and love of another. If that weren't the case, Shea never would have played that day, and he certainly would never have batted. And on that day, every one of those boys walked on water. We know many people who have faith in God. Look around. And I have witnessed many of those same people. And I'm raising my hand as well. I'm in this group. Who have shown amazing kindness to others. And at the same time, at times, not always, at times, just beat themselves up. Beat themselves up. Complete faith in God, I believe, requires self-love. It requires it. And how do you know when you're expressing compassion to yourself, when you're loving yourself? It's when you're at peace in here. It's not about loving what you do. It's not about loving what you believe. It's not about loving what you think. It's not about loving what you want to achieve or win. It's not about that primarily. It's about being at peace in here. A Course in Miracles says, would you rather be happy or right?